On to other updates coming in. The United States is reviving a plan to target Iran on its missile development program. The proposal, a law, according to reports, has been readied by U.S. President Donald Trump's top officials, including Defense Secretary James Mattis and Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. Officials say it will target Iran's funding of armed and militant groups, work to stop alleged Iranian destabilization efforts in the terror-torn regions of Iraq, Syria and Yemen, and also covers cyber espionage and nuclear proliferation. The new proposal could be made public before the end of this month. The State Department spokesperson Heather Nauert told the press that the American administration believes the Iranian regime is not following the law. She accepted that a review is being done of the U.S. policy towards Iran.
Do you want to go over it now?
Other people can go first.
Real quick on Iran.
Really quick on Iran.
Hold on.
Just that the IAEA found yesterday that Iran is implementing its nuclear commitments. The administration confident in that assessment?
So it's a report that is still confidential at this point. So I'm not going to comment on a report that's still confidential at this point. We typically don't discuss the details of something before it is officially released. So I'm going to adhere to that policy. I can say we appreciate the efforts of the IAEA as they work to verify and monitor Iran's implementation of the JCPOA. We remain fully committed, and this has not changed, to ensuring that Iran could not obtain a nuclear weapon. I want to be firm on that one. We continue to review and to monitor Iran's implementation of the JCPOA in order to ensure that Iran continues to strictly meet all of its commitments.
And the U.S. has confidence in the IAEA?
They have done a good job of doing its work. We thank them for that. As you know, we've had visits with them, as has Mr. Shannon, over at the IAEA to have conversations about this, and so we stand by their work this time.
Mr. Ahmad said that
I'm sorry,
Iran was the head of the IAEA. He said that Iran was playing by the rules. So if they come and say Iran is playing by the rules, will you still say that they are not complying?
Look, I think I was clear that the administration believes that Iran is not in compliance with the spirit of the law.
Right.
The Iran review is still ongoing. We will continue to follow the letter of the law, but we believe that Iran is in violation of the spirit of the law. And I'm not going to get ahead of what that review will contain, and I'm not going to forecast it either.
So there's been suggestion that there's going to be some sort of a new deal or a new negotiation of this deal, as was suggested by
Saeed. I'm just not going to speculate. Okay.
And Maral Gulampur is joining us from Tehran to take us through the latest coming in on these developments. Hi, Maral. First up, how exactly is the Iranian government likely to respond to these proposals there?
Well, Iran has yet to issue a formal response to this proposal. I think that Iranian official responses will be very similar to what they showed after the Trump administration announced sanctions 2 months ago in mid-July. So as a response to Trump policies, they have formally stated that they will show proportionate and strong responses, and they perceive sanctions to be a violation of nuclear deal. So basically what they have done already is that Iranian officials have threatened to relaunch a nuclear program if the Trump administration continues to threaten and sanction the country. So basically what happened when they put the sanctions, renewed basically the sanctions 2 months ago, was that Iranian President Hassan Rouhani told lawmakers that in an hour and a day Iran could return to a more advanced nuclear level than at the beginning of the negotiations. And he also clarified that they are definitely not going to act in a way that gets them entangled in the politics of the American government and Trump. So I think there is a good chance that Iranian officials probably would consider reinvigorating the nuclear program.
All right, Maral, does the Iranian government suspect that Donald Trump wants to terminate the nuclear deal?
Well, Trump was talking about shredding the Iran nuclear deal because he thought that it was a bad deal for so long. actually, since he was campaigning for presidency, he was seeking ways to declare Iran is in violation of the nuclear deal. But what happened was that experts, including the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, which is the nuclear watchdog agency in charge of verifying Iran's compliance with this obligation, says that Iran actually has complied. So what happened then? Trump's administration, in order to get around the pesky detail, they tried to make the case that Iran is violating the spirit of the deal and not the letter. And they point to Iran's ballistic missile test and its presumed support for Hezbollah. And as we see now, they are trying to impose basically more pressure on the Iranian authorities. So it appears that, yes, the aim of all this might be for him to abort the deal.
Maral, is there any immediate prospect of talks with the United States?
Well, it seems that a strengthening of diplomatic ties between Iran and the U.S. will be very unlikely under Trump administration, as it was also during the previous hardliner president in Iran, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. But now what's happening in Iran is that we have a president and a party in power which is moderate and aspires to cooperate with the world and to improve diplomatic ties. But the Trump's policy approach seems to not to favor that, because his policy appears an uptick in military operations across the Middle East region. For instance, in 1 week in Yemen, Trump reportedly launched more airstrikes than President Obama did in any year of his presidency. He also has dropped what he calls mother of all bombs in Afghanistan to show as a show and sign of power in the region. So it seems that he has a more antagonism towards the Iranian government than a will to repair politic ties. So I don't think that there would be any prospects. I hope that it would happen, but I don't think that any expert would agree that there is prospects for betterment of the relations between Iran and the US.